So I'm Jack. I recently came off Love Island, and I'm probably known just for being on the show and just being myself for 4 weeks. I just went in there cold, never had any media training or whatever. I was just as me, and I came out, and everyone just watched the show, of course, and knew who I was. And it took a couple of days. I mean, I was very, very anxious coming out. I was actually more anxious coming out than going in. I didn't want to have my phone back because I didn't have a phone for 4 or 5 weeks. Had very little stress whilst in the villa, apart from what was going on in the villa, but you know, it wasn't too much to handle. But yeah, coming out of it, it was very, very different. I lost weight, my stomach shrank. I remember going to a restaurant with my family first time since being out, and everyone was videoing and watching me eat and stuff like that, and I was just like, I don't know what is going on. Like, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. It took about a week to kind of wrap my head around it. I got angry, I got frustrated, I wanted to be left alone. I stepped outside the restaurant with my dad. I said, like, Dad, it's just so strange. Like, I feel like I'm a zoo, and it was just weird because I'm not Justin Bieber. You know what I mean? I'm not Drake. I'm not anyone who's super successful in their line of work. I've just come off a show, but because the show was so popular, it was like, oh, we have a picture of you here. We want a picture of you. We want a video of you. Do this, do that, do this, do that. And I was just like, what? Because it was such an overnight thing. It wasn't drastically happening. It was just boom. So yeah, it took me a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks to wrap my head around it. Didn't sleep much, didn't eat much, didn't train. Yeah, I had a girlfriend, and it didn't work, and it just shook me. It proper hurt me, I suppose. I learned a lot from it. I remember saying to my dad and my mum, like, "Whoa, what the hell is this pain? Like, it's not a physical pain. I can't go to the doctors. Like, what is going on?" And they was like, "Well, you're heartbroken. Like, it is what it is." And I was just like, "Yeah, so what do we do now? Like, help." And they was like, "You can't. It's something you got to deal with yourself." So I was just like, "Oh, right, okay, this is new." And it was weird because I was like 20, learning about myself, and I thought, I'm 20, man, I know everything about myself, you know, like, I know me, I know how my body works, you know what I mean? Like, I remember I was a personal trainer, so before I went when I was with her, I was a personal trainer, and we broke up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I had a 6 a.m. client. So I did not sleep one bit. Like, I slept like 15, 20 minutes, it was a nap, and I had to get up, put my uniform on. I remember I was with my client was like, "You all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm cool." I'm bottling it up. I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm absolutely fine." And I remember counting his reps, but like crying a little bit, and like crying. I was like, so I got that client out the way, and I was like, I need to go home. Like, I literally need to go home. I can't work, I can't really function. So I went and saw my dad, and by which time it was only like 6:30 in the morning, 8 in the morning, and he hadn't gone to work yet. And he saw me, I was in a big state, and he was like, "Okay, I want to take the day off work." So we stayed in the house, and I remember sitting on his sofa, and just bawling, just absolutely bawling my eyes out. And my stepmom come downstairs, and she was like, "You know, you'll be okay, you'll be all right. You know, just you know, take your time. Don't try and fight it. Go with it. There's no point fighting it because you're just going to work yourself up." So I was taking all this information in and trying to use it, and then she went to work. She came back about 6 o'clock in the evening, and I'm still sat in the exact. I hadn't moved. I'm still sat in the exact same spot. The only thing that was different was just loads of tissues around me. That was it. I was just bawling. It took about 4 days, 4 or 5 days of just crap, absolute shit, in a dark room, like pretty much just. I was depressed in it. If I think back on that, I was probably depressed when you think about it, because all the signs were just didn't want to do anything, wasn't really eating. Going to the shop was a task, like absolute task, but my dad made me to get some fresh air. Then it was at that point where I saw a tin of soup, and I saw this tin of soup, and I was really trying to like get myself together, trying to not cry, and then I was bored, and he was like, "What's up? Why are you crying?" I was like, "Oh, the last time I was in this shop, I bought her soup," and we laughed about it a little bit, because it was, when you think about it, it's quite funny, but at the time I was just a mess. Go and talk to your mum, go and talk to your older friends, your uncle, ask them, "Have you been heartbroken?" I guarantee they say yeah. Guarantee it, because that's part of life, that's part of growing up. So, and I just think it's such a weird thing for everyone not to talk about such a big part of your life. Like, it's a massive part of life, love. in all relationships you have, whether it be a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, wife, whatever. I mean, so it's such a big thing. I think it's so bizarre. But then I understand why as well, because I was in that position where I didn't speak about it. You know what I mean? But being on the other side, it's so foreign not to. So it's all about getting that crossover of explaining and reasoning why it's such a good thing to talk about how you feel. Because I'm an influencer, I suppose. Like what I wear, people want to buy it. How I feel, people sometimes will want to hear it. The other day, actually, I put a post up about me being in resus. I was in resuscitation, had a nut about a year ago now. And I just spoke about allergies and how we need to talk about it more and stuff like that. And the feedback I got from that was unbelievable. Like the amount of people that share the same problem as me, or have the same scenarios or been in the same scenarios, was massive. So I think even just posting that one picture, it kind of made me realize how influential Instagram is. So when it comes to social media, there's so many benefits of it, but there are so many disadvantages. So I get a bit angry, actually. I get a bit angry when I see hate comments and stuff like that, because it's just sad. I just find it so sad. I think for that person to take time out of their day, like they've taken time out of their day, like they've got out of bed, gone on their phone, looked up your Instagram to then type something negative and then to post it. They've taken time out of their day. That's their problem. So when it comes to people who sometimes do that to me, I think, bro, I feel sad for you. Like I'm upset. Like you need, like what is wrong? What's going on in your mind for you to do that? Like forget the comment. I've got broad shoulders. I'll carry it. But what's going on in your mind for you to take time out of your day? You can look at it like, yeah, it's a hate comment, dickhead, whatever. Or you can look at it as like he's or she. There's something behind them who feel as if they need to do that to bigger themselves up. So you can look at it two ways. And I like to look at it that way, because it then opens up another door. How are we going to help these people? It's sad because I feel sometimes the only reason or the only chance they'll have to think with themselves, like I shouldn't have done that comment, or I shouldn't have said that, is when the person's going to do something bad because of that comment. They could self-harm, or they could, inevitably, kill themselves. I know a girl, Sophie, she was on Love Island 2 years ago, and I worked with her, and she was always very happy, always on her Instagram, laughing. Like you'd never think there was a problem. Never ever think there was a problem. And literally like 2 weeks before I went in there, she killed herself. And it was, a large part of it was the trolls. X amount of likes on a picture, X amount of followers, yeah. It's good to have, but what does it actually matter? Like, what does it actually matter? Like, I literally just today came back from being on holiday for 5 days, somewhere that no one knew about Love Island. And I just realised, like, what is it like having 800-pound trainers on your feet, having a blue tick on Instagram? Like, what does it really matter? Because at that moment, during them times I was away, I was so happy. And I didn't need them. I didn't need my phone. I didn't need Instagram. I didn't need Twitter. I didn't need to put a picture up of me looking good or whatever. Like, I didn't need that to be happy. So when I think back to it, people who believe that they need Instagram to have happiness, they need to reevaluate quickly. I mean, one of the managers, I think he was for Wales, Gary Speed, I remember watching him play, and then the next thing I realised that he committed suicide. And I was just like, this guy has everything. He's got a family, he's got the nice car, he's got a nice house. He's a footballer. Like, that's what I want to be. I want to be a footballer. The guy has everything. Now he's a professional manager of a big club, but yet he still went down that avenue, down that road. And it's like, when I read that, and I must have been about 15, 16, and I was studying, I was stressed, like, and I was thinking, this guy's got everything, yet he still went down that road. And I think that's just so crazy. It's so weird to think that people who, from the outside looking in, have it all and yet aren't happy. So I'm just thinking, like, you just check on people, man. Just check on your friends. Even if you think they're happy, check on them. And if you're the person who's not happy and they haven't checked on you, it's not because they don't care. It's just because maybe, they haven't clicked in their heads about how you might feel. But you can talk to them. They're your friends. You've got family. Talk to your family. If you haven't got that, then there's so many helplines that can help you. Even if you go and talk to your GP. Say, God, listen, I'm going to my doctors. I've got these thoughts in my head. You know, I'm struggling. I'm stressed. I'm revising all the time. I've got a lot of pressure from my family to get the grades. I just don't think I'm going to make it. Like, they're going to be upset with me. My brothers, my uncle, my cousins, they've all got degrees. What am I going to do? I'm not going to get it. I'm going to be that one person in the whole family who's not going to get a degree. I'm going to be ashamed. My family are not going to want to be with me. They're not going to be proud of me. And these things are real. Like, people generally feel like that. And you have so many networks to help you. That's just the educational side of it. There's so many, like, there's sports, footballers, tennis players, basketball players, like anyone playing sport, so much pressure is put on them to be the best. But sometimes you're not going to make it. Like, that's just how it is. But that's not to mean that you're a failure. It's not your failure. It's not because you're a failure. Because there's so many other things you can succeed in.